Hi guys, it's Sabrina. So today I'm going to be doing a video on how I like to study, who I study with, and things I like to use to study. So this was a requested video in one of my last videos that I posted. And basically you're just interested in what I do to study. I do have quite a few videos up on like what I do in a typical day, like what resources I use if you guys are interested in that. But basically, my whole life I've really liked to just study on my own. I'm not really much of a group studier. I have tried group studying. I've done it quite a few times actually, and I usually only group study if I'm really sure about some material and I think I know what I'm doing, because usually when I do group study I get really distracted. I'll end up talking to the group, I'll end up like goofing around, I won't actually be studying, and I realize that I'm wasting a lot of studying time. So for me personally, group studying does the opposite for me. It actually keeps me from studying instead of helping me study. So I guess it kind of depends on the group or the person, but that's kind of how it's been for me in the past. I do still like studying with people though. Like, it's really fun once in a while. If I don't have like a test coming up and I just want to chill study with someone, I'll definitely go hang out and study, because it gets really lonely when all you do is study all by yourself. And you know, once in a while it's okay to just goof off and have some fun and just talk to someone else and see how they're studying or how they've been doing and stuff. So I do like to just study with people when we do that. I do study with Alex often, my sister, because when we study together we actually really hardcore study. Like, we'll put on our headphones, we'll just sit next to each other basically at a coffee shop. We won't really sit or talk to each other. So it kind of just depends on the group. Like, me and Alex know that when we're going to study together, this is like serious stuff, we're going to be really zoned in and we'll talk after we study and stuff. It's been a lot easier to actually study with people from my class. One of my favorite people to study with is actually my boyfriend. He is really motivating, and he just quizzes me the entire time while we're studying, which is super helpful. I'm bad at like active learning sometimes, and I know that. I'm more like a passive learner. I'll just read it like a million times and hope it sticks to my brain, and it doesn't work all the time. So he'll like randomly quiz me on topics, and he'll be like, see, you need to work on that, or see, go reread that, you didn't know that, or good job, you really know that subject. And I really appreciate that. It's really good to have someone who quizzes you randomly and tries to help you out to see how much you know or what you should learn better. So I'm really thankful for him. He's really good at studying. He's super good at focusing. I definitely get very distracted while I study, and he can just go on like 8 hours studying nonstop, like nothing will distract him, and I think that's incredible. He has some really great stamina. I just get tired. I'm like, I've been staring at this book for like 3 hours now, I just don't want to anymore. But he'll be like, why not, it's awesome. I'm like, no, it's not that awesome. I love what I learn, but like, I guess we just have different like mindsets and personalities. He can go forever and I can't. I have to take a break and do something else. So studying with him has actually been really great. We don't really distract each other at all. We're really good together. We're really serious when we study and we get stuff done. And I really appreciate that. I think that's super important to have someone like that next to you that can be there for you and quiz you and help you out and actually just help you improve. When we study together, we actually like to draw out all the pathways and stuff if it's like a process where you have to memorize a pathway. And we do that at school on whiteboards. We'll fill up an entire classroom of whiteboards with just stuff that we've drawn out about all the different pathways and stuff. And that's been so helpful to learn. He's really good at that. He'll like somehow get it all from his brain. I don't know how he does it. And then he'll just draw it all out. And then we'll go through it step by step, try to like remember and try to explain it to each other, and then take pictures of it, and then do the same thing every day before an exam, and that's been super helpful. So if you guys have pathways or anything, draw it out in front of you, and it'll really make it so much easier for some reason to follow and to like also memorize. If you see it right in front of you, it's really easy. I don't know why it was different from like drawing it out on a piece of paper, but it is. So try that on a whiteboard, that helps. And it also helps, like, if you keep looking at like an online picture of a pathway and you just keep staring at it and hope you like memorize it, you won't. It's really a lot better if you actively try to draw it out, because then you're like putting in the work and that helps. So active learning is super helpful. I need to convince myself that it is too, because I know it's way easier to just read your notes over and over, but active learning takes more effort, but it's in there once it's in there. And then other than that, I like to reread my notes. So I basically take notes out of the book. I like type notes or copy and paste the book if I don't feel like typing. And I'll copy and paste what I think is important, what I think I need to know for a test, and then I will study it. So I like to study my notes. Like basically every week we'll have some readings to do, and by the end of the week I'll be done with all the readings and stuff, and I will have already learned all the stuff in lecture 2. And then on the weekend I like to review everything I've learned, all my notes, and try to make sure I understand the concepts and understand what I learned that week. And I leave it all behind and then start next week's stuff. And we usually have 2 weeks of material on our tests, and then I'll work on all of next week's stuff, and then on the weekend I'll split between next week and this week's stuff and try to make sure I have it all down before the exam. I really like to do practice problems for the exam, but I only leave it to like right before the actual test. So I'll start the weekend before an exam. I'll start doing like 50 to 60 like quiz questions every day to see if I know the material, which hopefully I know by then, because if I don't, then I'm screwed. The exam's on Monday no matter what. And so that's what I'll do, and that really helps for me to gauge what's going on, and I use Kaplan QBank for that. So I definitely recommend Kaplan QBank if you guys want for step 1 studying, and just to help you study throughout your first year of medical school. That was really helpful. So that is what I like to do to learn, and that also quizzes me and helps me realize what I need to study more and what I don't need to study as much. I use a lot of resources, as I've told you guys in the past. I use Sketchy for pharmacology and for microbiology. Also for path, I had the cardiopulmonary and kidney path, and I had Sketchy for it, and that was really helpful. I don't know why, but Sketchy with its pictures really helps you like memorize something. So I recommend it if you're a visual learner, or even if you're not, even if you are just like an audio learner, it's helpful because it'll give you like tricks and mnemonics and stuff to remember a drug or to remember a bug. So I recommend that. And then I use Pathoma like crazy for Path. He is amazing. I love him. He just explains everything so much easier than my book does. I have a huge book called Robin's Pathology, and it just goes in way too much detail. Pathoma takes all that detail, condenses it to something you're going to understand. I also have First Aid. I like to look through First Aid whenever we have a specific section. That also lets me know like what specifics I should probably know for my exam. And I think that's basically all the resources I like to use. That is what I do. And I use those a week before our test, so I'll start using it the week coming up to an exam to make sure I'm like prepping and I have all the information I need to know. And sometimes I even like to make study guides. I'll read through my notes and write down what I think is important and keep that in mind, and then later before the exam I'll look over what I thought was important. If I'm like over reading my notes and I think I've gotten everything I need to get out of them, I'll look over my little self-made study guide, and that's been really helpful too. And other than that, I usually just like to study at home. I don't really go to coffee shops or any other places. I get kind of distracted if there's a lot of people and if the music is loud, and I have a hard time concentrating because most of the time I can't even study with music anymore. I have to study just quietly because I have to like keep thinking about what I'm reading and try to act like kind of recall it in my brain. If I have something around me distracting me, I'll realize that I read something and got nothing out of it, and we'll have to go back and reread it, and that happens a lot. So I've been having a harder time like going out to coffee shops to study. And I know Alex is probably going to want to do that more or go to a library more now that she's here, so maybe I'll join her at the library. But usually I just go home. It's really easy. I have my little desk and I just feel safe and enclosed. There's food downstairs if I need it, and I don't have to worry about too much. I just like the comfort of it. I feel like going somewhere else is just like a hassle. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel like home, and it's harder. So I usually just do study at home. Even when I study at school, I don't like it because I'm like, why am I still at school? I want to be home. I don't want to be here. So that's what I like to do. Yeah, usually just by myself or with a friend like Corey or Alex. Sometimes I go out with the med school students and study with them too. It all depends, but I kind of keep it variable. Overall, whatever works best and whatever I know I'm actually studying. Because we all know when we get distracted, we're not actually studying. So that is what I like to do when I study. I hope you guys found this video helpful. I hope this helps you out no matter what grade you are in, or if you're getting into high school, getting into college. It's hopefully some like good study tips for you guys. I know it's a little bit more biased towards med school because that's where I'm at right now, but either way, I hope it helps you guys out, and you guys are doing really well. I know school's starting soon. Are you guys excited, nervous? I'm like really sad I don't want to go back to school. Vacation's been really nice. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.